the pinnacle of spring racing. It is the Melbourne Cup Carnival. The thrill of the track, the tradition and the temptation. It's all here on Sports Tonight. Hello, I'm Matthew White. Welcome to Sports Tonight on Cup Eve. We're once again in Melbourne to take you through the field, update the news, cover the tips, and most importantly, check out what the weather's doing. At the moment, it's a little bit damp and it looks like we're headed for a wet Tui's new Melbourne Cup tomorrow. Also on this 1 hour edition, Gerard, Whateley and our expert team will take you through the field horse by horse. They'll give you the complete form guide, and whether it's your office sweep or you're a regular punter, the boys will make sure you've got all the details. And later, we'll take you to Phoenix, Arizona to see how the Diamondbacks stopped the World Series dynasty. A great finish to Game 7. But first up, the latest Cup news. Is Universal Prince in or out? Ryan Phelan reports.
At this stage, Matthew, he's still in, but trainer Bede Murray has been given a hotline to Chief Stewart Des Gleeson and can scratch the horse at any time. But as of moments ago, he was adamant that this horse will be in tomorrow's Melbourne Cup field. He battled with vets this morning to be granted a stay of execution, and Sports Tonight's Brad McEwen was there.
Not surprisingly, all eyes this morning were on the Sydney 4-year-old. Universal Prince working overtime in a bid to prove his fitness. First a gallop, then a trot. His every move watched closely by VRC vets.
From our point of view, as I say, at this present time, we would not be satisfied that the horse was fit to run.
Trainer Bede Murray was clearly unhappy with the assessment. Adamant Universal Prince isn't lame but has an unusual gait.
Bede, in your heart, you feel his action is no different to what it's been throughout his career. That's right.
It was lame in the off-hind leg after the McKinnon, and whilst it improved slightly, it was still lame half an hour later, and it's lame in the same leg again this morning. So that is a grave concern. And as I said, the horse must be considered an unlikely runner in the Melbourne Cup at this stage.
Soon after hearing the vet's assessment, Murray made his way to VRC headquarters, hoping to delay a final decision on his Cup hope until tomorrow morning.
He wants to give the horse every opportunity to recover from the injury that it does have. And we've acceded to that request.
Well, I'll just examine him again, and of course, if their opinion's the same, he won't run.
Hopes were boosted late today following a first-hand inspection from the man who apparently knows the horse best, Bede Murray's son, Paul.
He looks a picture of health, and I can't fault him. He's normal to me.
The public have criticised both Connections and the stewards for their indecision on this matter, but at the end of the day, the scratching deadline is at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, so they're giving this horse every conceivable chance to prove his fitness. He was also the hot topic at this morning's Melbourne Cup press conference, and his jockey also was under the watchful eye of the punting public. It seems Justin Sheehan just can't escape the public pressure.
At the end of the day, you know, you're a mile in front of a lot of other poor buggers. I mean, you know, we're not on the Afghan border, are we, starving? But, you know, as I said to you the other day when we spoke, I believe it's destiny that I found him and that we're here in the Cup, and if he doesn't run, it'll be just it'll be a tragedy for me and all Connections.
Even the Cup's king, Bart Cummings, is sceptical of a form turnaround.
Well, I haven't seen the horse, so it's pretty hard to comment, but the form doesn't look good.
Cummings is without a runner for the second year in a row, but he was still the star of the show, and it's only right the veteran of 11 Melbourne Cup victories had the last word.
Well, I like the form out of the Caulfield Cup every year, and Etherol's only got 52 kilos after winning the Caulfield Cup. So Sky Heights and the Caulfield Cup winner are the two best.
Those comments music to Damien Oliver's ears, the informed jockey searching for his second Cup victory aboard Sky Heights.
Predicting a bit of rain, which Sky Heights loves. He'll be dancing around in his box, and I'm going to go and wash the car this afternoon. So hopefully that rain gets here.
And at this stage, it looks as though Damien's wish of rain may be granted. So, Matthew, Universal Prince to undergo further veterinary examinations tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. We'll know then whether he'll take his place in tomorrow's Melbourne Cup field.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. Well, the uncertainty surrounding the Prince did little to slow down the punters at today's call of the card. The heavy hitters backing it to win $800,000.
promises of refunds to punters if the Prince doesn't pass fit saw many take advantage of the generous price on offer at the traditional call of the card. But the Caulfield Cup form is still considered the best guide, with Sky Heights and winner Ethereal sharing the top line at $7. Rain Gauge is the next best at $8, Big Pat $9 ahead of the trio Persian Punch, Marion Bard and May the Horse Be With You, paying $15. Some interest also in the Cliff Brown trained Spirit of Westbury. On the second page of betting, Capstad Way and Inner Flurry are listed at $26, Caetano and Freemason at $51, while Pastor Express is the rank outsider.
You know, if the hardest job of the night is picking a winner in the Cup, the second hardest job goes to a man who, well, he's never really had a real job in his life, but at least he knows the weather. Tim Bailey.
Now, we're starting on a beautiful shot of the roses because, quite frankly, you don't want to see what colour the sky's going to be for the Melbourne Cup, but we'll show you anyway. Here's a preview. Bailey's Bureau of Maybeology tipping showers and 19 degrees for the Melbourne Cup. Now, we're also tipping a couple of horses. Imagine if Rum won the Tui's new Melbourne Cup. Think about that one. And the way the weather is, it's grey and it's damp. Well, there's a horse called Rain Gauge that might just give it a shake. So think about those two. We're looking at a damp one, tops of 19 degrees, a southerly change, and now back to Matty White, who stopped plenty of good things in his day. Matty.
Thank you, Tim. Maybeology, that's how he punts as well, folks. Well, a highlight of the Cup Carnival is the Parade of Champions along the city streets here, and getting into the act again, Sports Tonight's Mark Aston and John Letts.
Well, it's that time of the year again, and Johnny Letts, as usual, joins us. We're lucky enough to be in Melbourne, John. The Melbourne Cup on tomorrow. Everyone is talking about this wonderful race.
Oh, Mark, it's just so exciting in November to be in Victoria, to be in Melbourne, and the parade starting shortly. And, gee, there's so many people here. Every year it seems to get bigger.
Johnny, it's Elvis Presley.
It is, and Elvis, what's your tip in the Melbourne Cup?
Elvis Parson's the name.
Now, who do you guys fancy for the Melbourne Cup?
I don't know.
You don't know? What about you?
Celestial Show. Celestial Show.
Celestial Show. And what about you, Cheeky Chops? Not sure? Johnny, it's Elvis Presley.
Elvis, how are you? And what do you like in the Melbourne Cup?
Don't worry about that one.
What do you
We'll
want?
do it again.
Parsnip.
Yeah, Parsnip. It's Elvis Parsnip. Here's Bart Cummings. Bart, who do you fancy for the Cup?
I like the place getters in the Caulfield Cup. I think they run very well, and I think they'll be very hard to beat. And Big Pat.
Gouch, who's your tip?
I think it's a very even cup. You know, it's hard to go past the first, second horse in the Caulfield Cup, Ethereal and Sky Heights, and I think Big Pat's got a good chance, and don't underestimate Freemason.
Just say Elvis Presley. Is that all right?
But he doesn't like it.
Racing now. Caught them in a good line. Freckleface, one of the first to jump out. Beginning well as Cheeky Chops, and there's been a fall back in the field. There's been a fall back in the field, but it looks as though he's okay. Oh, no. What about tomorrow? May the horse be with you.
Yeah, look, it looks as if the forecast is right, we're going to cop a little bit of rain tonight. That'll really help us, and if the rain affected track, well, it certainly is going to put a few others out, and it'll help our chances.
Well, the parade has concluded, Johnny Letts, and now the countdown to the Melbourne Cup is well and truly underway. Who do you fancy? Your 1, 2, 3.
I do like Damien Oliver to win on Sky Heights. I think it's especially prepared for the race, which most of them are. I thought for second I put May the Horse Be With You, and for third I put down the bottom Celestial Show, young Reese McCourt, 18-year-old apprentice. What a fairy tale story if it wins.
Look forward to your company tomorrow at Flemington, Lettsy.
Good punting, Mark.
Good punting to you.
It's a vegetable.
The vegetable.
Yeah. Yeah. I won't get it mixed up with carrot.
Mark Aston and two-time Cup winner Johnny Letts. You know, it's not only a time for punters and thoroughbreds, but it's also a chance to dress up and rub shoulders with racing's finest. The occasion tonight, the Cup Eve Ball, and 10 Sandra Sully is there.
Good evening, Matthew. Yes, what a night it is. I'm coming to you from the Hotel Sofitel, the venue for the annual Variety Club Cup Eve Ball. And you know, it's the night of nights for the racing industry. It's where the Racehorse Owners of the Year are nominated and awarded with this fabulous Bollinger Trophy. And this year, for the 6th year in a row, the famous Ingham brothers, both Bob and Jack Ingham from Woodland Stud in New South Wales, are the recipients of this fabulous award. I might add, it's not just the racing industry that's the focus tonight. Variety Club, of course, raised money for disadvantaged children across Australia, and this year they've raised $6 million, and the fundraising doesn't stop there. Tonight, of course, we'll be having an auction shortly, so more worthwhile funds to a very worthwhile cause. But, you know, racing isn't far away from the fever tonight. Of course, it's in the back of everyone's minds, and the big race tomorrow. And we're all getting a little bit nervous, you see, because here's the cup itself. I might add that both Bob and Jack Ingham had their fingers crossed. You see, they've got Freemason in the race tomorrow, and of course their mountain is Darren Gauchi. So fingers crossed that their success continues on tomorrow. Matthew, a wonderful night here, and as you can see, for a very worthwhile cause. So we look forward to seeing everyone enjoying the cup tomorrow, and thanks for joining us tonight.
All right, Sandra, thank you. Sandra Sully joining Tim Webster and the team tomorrow in 10's coverage. We wish the best of luck to Pete Donegan covering his 13th Cup, and of course Dan Malecki calling his 13th straight as well. You know, Think Big in 1974 and 75 was the last horse to win the Cup back-to-back. But it won't be happening this year because the defending champion Brew is now a rookie cop. While a serious leg injury has ended his racing career, the 2000 Cup victor is now training for a different job as a police horse. And you might expect his new riders would know a thing or two about discipline, but even for the men and women of the law, the champ is proving a challenge.
He's very headstrong, and that may be his downfall, but because of who he is, the horse will be given every opportunity to make it.
It might be a while yet before you see Brew on the city streets of Melbourne. The gelding has to pass a pretty big test first. We'll face the chop again. And tonight, as we head to our breaks on the show, we'll hear from some of the Cup trainers and jockeys. Ryan Phelan got the final word this morning.
This year has been, I mean, you have to pinch yourself sometimes to realise how good it's been, and you know, I hope it can continue for a few more days yet with the Cup and the Oaks coming up. And walking down the street, you know, you hear people saying in the background, oh, that's the guy that won the Melbourne Cup, you know, so it does change your life. It's an amazing race, it stops the nation, and the things that go through your mind as you're rushing towards that winning post, it's just unbelievable.
You're watching Sports Tonight, and this is the place for all your Cup details. After the break, Gerard Whateley heads our expert team analysing the 141st Melbourne Cup field.